what came to me today over and over again was that we are limiting ourselves. It's funny, I don't normally talk to you guys like that, right? I don't. I know a lot of coaches are like, you're hammering down what you think is possible, right? Like that's a big coachy thing to say. And I don't usually do that with you guys. So today's a little bit of a hairy topic. We have not had this conversation about what you're training for. And what this looks like isn't like, so many times you say, what are you training for? People are like, what, you mean like a marathon? Kind of, but no, we only think of it that way. Isn't that funny? But you're actually training for the life you expect to be having. Do you expect people to let you down? Are you training for that? Are you actively searching for joy? Are you actively seeking that out every day? Are you actively seeking out, you guys know this is a big one, being right and making other people wrong? The rub here is sometimes we train ourselves to make the naysayers right. And what we can get trained by ourselves and others to do is make them right. See, I knew you shouldn't have done that. I told you. How did that happen? What were you training for in that moment? Isn't that interesting? I know, and I don't mean to put all the onus on us, like we're tired already, right? Instead, I want to prompt you with a couple of questions that I hope will support you. Let's figure this out. It's like when you put, oh boy, I have been baking a lot, but it's like when you put flour in the sieve, right, to sift it. You got to see what comes out. And there will be stuff that's left in here. Let's look at what that is so you know. So that if it's not making you happy, if it's not helping you fulfill your deepest desires, and you guys know, I'm not talking about your handbags. I'm not talking about your jewelry. I'm not talking about your shoes. I'm talking about your life. I'm talking about, you on the deathbed having your rosebud moment, like in Citizen Kane. Have you been chasing all the wrong things your whole life only to realize what you wanted was the simplicity that you experienced in childhood? Because all of the effort and all the millions and all of the things we thought we were supposed to want brought us no joy. And we don't know why. Because they're supposed to. I want to drive home to you is that moment could arrive for any one of us today, tomorrow, next week. So don't waste another day not understanding what you're training for. If you guys have a journal, I would recommend you get it. All right, and here are the first question I'd like you to answer today. All right, and that is, what actions do you repeat every day? Now, these can be both positive or those that you feel push you further towards your goals, right? So maybe you do yoga every day or you meditate every day. You love your morning coffee every day, right? Working out's one of mine too, right? Like you can have your positives. Maybe you study a little bit every day. Maybe you read a great novel every day to release your brain and have it enjoy, some fun stuff for a change, right? Maybe you prepare your house a certain way, or maybe you complain every day. Sorry. Maybe you leave things undone every day. Maybe you gossip with your friends every day. Maybe you look in the mirror and tell yourself you're too fat, too ugly, too skinny, too big, too small, too gray, too old, too young. Just notice. Again, no judgment, guys, no judgment, okay? What I want here is, again, just like we said, let's shake out all the stuff that we don't normally look at, so we can look at it. What do you see? And if you were to watch somebody repeat that behavior every day, what are they training for? Are they training for unmet expectations? Are they training for sadness? As you're noticing what you're doing, here's some things I just want you to know, okay? There are what we call top-line behaviors. These are the behaviors you're gonna see where you're noticing you are working in your own best interest. Those actions that you repeat every day, those are your top line. That's like, oh my gosh, if I could design a day where I take incredible care of myself, I'm loving to the people I care about most, I really work on my goals and I keep my business moving forward. Like that's top line behavior. That's like the behavior you really want. That's the behavior we're all seeking, like the really strong, wonderful behaviors. The middle line. Okay, now when you're in the middle line, this is when your attitude or your experience starts to hit what we call like the yellow light, right? So top line would be green light, go, you're killing it, go, just keep going, you're great. Midline is when we might want to put the brakes on, okay? So the midline is the thoughts or feelings or expectations that start to come in right before you hit what we call the bottom line or the low line. And this is when People start gambling, people start drinking, people start overeating. Like that's the low line. You go to bed, you have a fight with your best friend, you start gossiping, you start naysaying other people. That's never gonna work for her. I don't know who the hell, like that bottom line behavior, right? And it could also be, you do sit down in front of the TV, start eating some Cheetos and you're like, F this day. That might be like, it might feel good in a moment. And sometimes we need to take breaks, but over the long haul, what are you training for? So I want you to pay attention to the word HALT. HALT stands for hungry, angry, lonely, or tired. Those are your midlines, like, uh-oh. And it's so cool that that acronym, right, fits right into don't be one of the people who tries to plow through the yellow lights. Whoa, hold on. I'm probably about to behave in a bottom line behavior. Now that we have HALT, right, so good. What I want you to know is what your most persistent negative thoughts are. We will give negative thoughts 5 times more attention than positive thoughts. This is why it's so important you know what they are. So now that you know where your midline behaviors are, so you can be like, ooh, I am on the path to baseline. I am on the path to the bottom. Okay, here I am. If you know the negative thoughts that got you there, you can start to deal with them as you're dealing with the midline behavior, and they go hand in hand. It's so cool. So back to the invisible, right? If you know what those beliefs are coming in that give you those negative thoughts, you are so far ahead of the game. Once you write them down on a piece of paper, you've moved them from the invisible to the visible, and now you can deal with them. They want to stay in the invisible because then they can run the show without you realizing. When they've been there since we were little, right? You guys have to remember, I was sexually abused from the time I was 18 months old. What do you think that taught me? What beliefs do you think got instilled there? It doesn't matter what I need as long as everybody else is taken care of. Well, if it's been there since I'm 18 months old, how are you supposed to rewire that, right? Could you see, that's a limiting belief right there. That's one of those right there. How could I possibly get rid of that? Well, that's been there too long. But I did. It's about looking at them and then let your brain start to work on it. Oh, well, I could never change this. It's been happening since I was 18 months old. And my countering thought to that, it took me a while, won't lie, right? But I got it, and it is, this is my life. This thought gets no more of my minutes. And it didn't. It didn't. Now, I went to therapy. I did all what you're supposed to do. Like we really work on this. This is not frou-frou. This is not magical thinking. This isn't like, oh, I meditated on it one day and it just magically disappeared. No, like get real, deal with it, and know that you can. Trust yourself enough to know that you can. People have overcome much worse, right? And they do it. They can. It's possible.